In the following interview, I spoke with Matthew and Carlos. Matthew and Carlos are residents of Miami, Florida. They are both involved with NAMI at different levels, and they both have similar experience with mental health. Matthew and Carlos share how their shared experiences with schizophrenia have helped them to become great friends, as well as start a musical band together called FogDog. They discuss how FogDog has impacted them as well as others, and how the role of creativity in music can help those struggling with mental health difficulties. I really enjoyed talking with Matthew and Carlos, and I hope you enjoy their live performance that we've incorporated into this interview. We can get started. So go ahead and please introduce yourselves, tell a little about yourselves and what you both do.
Okay, sure, I'll go ahead. My name is Matthew Racher. I'm a certified recovery peer specialist down here in South Miami, Florida. And I'm also a mental health advocate and musician. And I play music with my best buddy Carlos here in a band called FogDog.
That's right. And my name is Carlos Larrauri. I am the director for the National Alliance of Mental Illness. I'm a director for the National Alliance of Mental Illness, NAMI, and also for NAMI Miami-Dade County. By education and training, I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner, and I'm the other half of the band FogDog, the larger half, mind you.
Well, awesome. Thank you both. So let's start off, since we're talking about mental health. Can you guys both kind of explain your experiences with mental health?
Well, I really was raised in a way that mental health wasn't a conversation around the dinner table, and it wasn't something that I learned much about in school. And then with my experience of going away to college and having a mental health episode and subsequent diagnosis of schizophrenia, I kind of got thrown into the world of mental health rather abruptly. But my experience with mental health has been both on a personal and professional level. On a personal level, I went away to college and had a mental health decompensation and was diagnosed with schizophrenia. But after getting settled into my recovery, I decided I wanted to get back and help others. So I decided to become a mental health clinician. And I've worked in the mental health field as a psychiatric nurse practitioner for the past couple of years. So I've become familiar with mental health both on a personal and professional level.
So my experience with mental health in many ways, with my lived experience, it mirrors a lot of what Carlos was talking about with, I went away to college, I was about 18. I started to experience depression, anxiety, dabbling in substance use, with recreational drugs. And my depression slowly led to, me isolating myself. And then before I knew it, I was, reaching out to my parents and discussing what was going on. And we didn't know how to address this collectively. It was kind of like, you got to just get up and not sleep in and, go to classes. But we realized together this was kind of prodromal into my illness, which was psychosis, schizophrenia. Later on, I was diagnosed first in 2009 after a psychotic break. And then in 2011, I had a second psychotic break that landed me in the hospital. So since then, I've pretty much engaged in community resources such as NAMI support groups and became a mental health advocate. And I went on to take my lived experience to help out others and do outreach with it.
So you kind of touched on it, both of you, but what sort of things have helped you with dealing with your own mental health, whether it was in the past or currently?
So for me, I know what really helped me early on was having a network of support with my immediate family. My mother and father, my sister. Recognizing that I was struggling, I was going through these challenges. Being able to link me to providers, whether it was go to an inpatient stay at the hospital or link up with a therapist and social and a psychiatrist. So it was first, not knowing what was going on and having my family recognize that and advocate for me. And then after that, it was really getting involved in NAMI. As a organization down here in Miami, the affiliate has helped me, realize it's okay to experience a mental illness, to go through these challenges, and it's okay to have those. It's okay to not be okay, but there's a place to talk about it. There's a place to express it and share with peers. So it helped me get through, work through that stigma of having a mental health challenge, and not feel alone. Feel like other people go through similar challenges, and we can all talk about what works for us and what tools help. So I'd say that sense of having a NAMI support community, and then having tools and resources to reach out to and lean on. So
I would say the biggest factors in my recovery are very similar to Matthew's. I would have to, first and foremost, my family, who was there advocating for me and who helped me meet my basic needs when I was unable to take care of myself in the throes of psychosis, when I was borderly psychotic. In addition to that, I think finding the NAMI community has been critical. It was a safe space where I could explore my identity as someone in recovery, and it's allowed me to meet role models and mentors, and ultimately make sense of my experience by volunteering and helping others. And lastly, again, it's those tools of recovery, which could be medication, therapy, peer support. I find medication to be very important as well. It's a process of trial and error and experimentation, often under what should be under the supervision of your physician or provider. But finally, finding the right medication and dosages was also very critical for my recovery.
Awesome. Thank you guys. So the next question, to kind of get into what you do with FogDog, but what would you say the role of creativity is or can be in recovery?
For me, creativity allows me to make sense of my experience and own it and put my own voice to it. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, of bad genes or environmental stressors, I can make sense of my suffering by giving it my own voice, by writing songs about adversity and sublimating it, turning trauma into something hopefully beautiful and inspiring. So I think creativity has that ultimately awesome potential.
yeah, absolutely. And to hear that as well, I think creativity also is a great outlet. It's this way of, whether it's visual art or music, painting, whatever it may be, it's a way to express yourself. Oftentimes during moments of life where maybe I didn't feel understood, or I didn't feel like I could make sense of my experience, you kind of have this outlet. You can write it in song and poetry, and I think that's really important.
Great, thank you. So I'm curious, it's not one of the questions I sent both of you, but to get into talking about FogDog, how did you both meet, and what is FogDog? How'd that get started? Just anything like that.
So this was roughly, I'd say, like, I was hospitalized in 2011. When I came out of the hospital, I felt, I remember waking up and feeling like I'm broken. I can't relate to anybody. My experience is, I almost, when you get a diagnosis and you don't know what to do with it or where to go for help, you kind of feel like you have a death sentence. So my mom was getting involved in the NAMI community and local mental health community here in Miami. And I know my mom had met Carlos at the time. He was working at a local deli in South Florida. And my mom knew at the time and knows, I love food and I love to go out and eat, so she invited me to this restaurant where Carlos works, and then introduced me to him and said, Matt, this is a young man with a similar diagnosis and experience. And I remember it was just a cool feeling, like knowing, there's somebody else who has this diagnosis, who has had challenges with mental health, who's back to work, going to school, pursuing his goals. So for me in that moment, it was kind of this feeling of hope. And then we connected on the level of like, oh, you play guitar, I play guitar too. Oh, let's, you write songs, let's jam, let's do something with it. So that's how kind of the beginning of FogDog came about. We just started jamming. Carlos has a bunch of binders of lyrics and poetry, and we would come up with music riffs and put it together. And then I'll leave Carlos to talk about the meaning of FogDog.
Yeah, how we met really speaks to the power of hope and New York style deli food. But I think the definition of FogDog is thoughtful and hopefully depthful as well. I was on the Metro Rail and surfing through the internet, and I came across an application that gives you dictionary definitions of words every day. And I was looking through new words every day to kind of get inspiration for lyrics and poetry and things like that. And one day the word FogDog came up, and I read the definition. And the definition for FogDog is the point at which light breaks through a fog bank. So, having previously read the literature on psychosis and substance abuse and things like that, those conditions are often referred to as the fog of depression, or the fog of psychosis, or so forth and so on. So I think the meaning with FogDog was for our music and our storytelling to be hopefully a little bit of that light that shines through the fog of other people's adversities. And that's how we we came up with FogDog.
Awesome. So just when did FogDog started? Do you have social media? How can people find you?
Yeah, so FogDog started around 2014, 13 or 14, I think. That's kind of when we were in the beginning of stages of creating music and doing, writing original songs. We're working on an album now. It's in the works. It's kind of a little halted due to COVID, but we're trying to do some distance recording and keep it going. But as far as social media, our website, and we're still working on our social media, but we have a website. It's called fogdogmusic.net.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We have a Facebook page, right?
Yep.
And I believe we have an Instagram. We're working on picking up our social media game.
I've been having people kind of shout out, just social media so people can get connected when they see these videos. You both kind of touched on it, but what is the impact of FogDog? Like, what has it had on yourselves and on others, do you feel?
I'd say initially the impact of FogDog was an experience where, personally for me, where I could meet a peer, somebody who would become one of my best friends in a time that was very dark for me, and be able to collaborate on music together and collaborate on songwriting and kind of bring me out of that dark hole that I was in. And as FogDog, as peer musicians, bandmates, we took that experience, and I think we started to travel to different NAMI events and play at different conventions or for different mental health related organizations, and we started to share our story through music. And it became this kind of two-way street of feeling good about getting our story out there, and also feeling good about helping others, letting others know that it's okay to share. It's okay to share their story, to share their experiences, and to work together to end stigma around mental illness. So that's been the experience for me and for both of us, I think. Right?
Definitely. I think it's been very meaningful for me to take this adversity, this trauma, and try to transform it into something that's a gift to others, and something that's hopefully beautiful and sounds good. And as a teenager, you grow up, fantasizing what it'd be like to be a rock star, playing an awesome show and then going off stage and having all these girls, dying to meet you. But the reality has been for us that we play at a NAMI convention, and then we have all these NAMI mommies lined up to meet us. And I think what it does is speak to the appetite for lived experience. People want to see stories of people doing well in recovery and sharing their art and sharing their creativity. And there's a huge need for other young adults to resonate with other young adults about these experiences.
So, as this isn't a question I sent, but if you don't mind answering, I was just kind of thinking, so since these videos are geared for younger people, the younger generation, do you have any advice or words of wisdom, words of hope for maybe even college students, as you guys said, who might be experiencing some mental health symptoms for the first time? Like, just words of encouragement even too.
Yeah, I would say absolutely know that there's a community out there of what NAMI or other mental health communities where they have support groups. If anyone is experiencing any symptoms or any changes or anything mood-wise, whatever may be going on, to know, number one, it's okay. It's okay to feel what you're feeling and it's okay to reach out for help. I'd say that's the big thing, and leaning on positive support with your friends or family. And as friends or family members of people experiencing these conditions, I'd say that the best thing is to meet them with compassion, meet them where they're at when they're going through it. Meet them with as much, just that non-judgmental kind of empathy of understanding that this isn't our, when we go through these challenges, it's not our fault, and there are resources out there, and we can, build partnerships with each other to work together, as support and people experiencing these challenges. So
I would want people, as cliche as it sounds, it's true that you are not alone. These are very common experiences that happen to, mental health conditions happen to as many as 1 out of 5 people. And as dark as the moments may be, for most people it does get better. Aside from those general truths, on a more practical level, I'd want people to know that it's important to maintain communication with their network of support. In my case, I went to go see the school counselor and psychologist, but we failed to identify the issue I was having. It was actually my family friend who was my roommate previously in college, who I was just in contact with at college and knew something was off, and contacted my mom, and we were able to start the process of getting help that way. So it's important to have that communication with your friends, your parents, and an RA, an academic advisor, whoever it may be, including professionals, because you never know who's going to be that kind of lifeline of support for you.
Awesome, thank you. So we've reached the end of the questions. Is there anything you want to add or share, more advice for any viewers of this video?
I would say, just to sum up a lot of what we were talking about, hold on to hope. There are resources out there. There are people advocating for better care and better treatment. And definitely, as Carlos stated, and the common theme is you're not alone in going through these challenges. So I encourage everyone to really know that, and to know that there's help out there too.
Given the current climate of COVID-19, it's more important than ever for people to reach out. More people are experiencing depression and anxiety, and hopefully from this, there'll be a greater awareness of how these conditions affect other people. And given the current climate with kind of racial tensions in the United States, I think it's also important to recognize the many disparities that people of color face when it comes to accessing and getting mental health care, and the necessity for culturally competent mental health care as well. So, to that end, we have to meet people where they're at. We have to engage people in their communities, and respecting their beliefs and values. And in doing so, we can, give people a more equitable chance for recovery.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really, really enjoyed speaking with both of you.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thinking about my baby all night long. Thinking about my baby as I sing this song. Storm surge rising, winds blowing fast. Don't worry, my baby, this soon shall pass. Ain't no waters high enough to keep me away. Ain't no wind strong enough to keep my love at bay. Baby, just remember after the rains go away. Baby, just remember there comes a brighter day. Power may be out, but our light shines inside. A beacon of hope we don't know how to hide. Homes may be gone, but families will stay strong. So wait for me, my baby, it won't take long. Ain't no waters high enough to keep me away. Ain't no wind strong enough to keep my love at bay. Baby, just remember when the rains go away. Baby, just remember there comes a brighter day. Comes a brighter day. I say there comes a brighter day. I say there comes a brighter day. All right. Thank you guys very much. We hope you enjoy it.
Thank you very much.